Welcome back to this mini-series on a few bits of basic Windows NT domain management. In this video, hopefully it's going to be a fairly short one on how to deploy Adobe Reader using group policy. So I've already shown you in one of the previous videos how group policy works and how you would deploy something which is already easily accessible as an MSI, such as Google Chrome, and how to deploy it out to the computers. For some of my demonstrations in a moment, I'm going to need another program, and quite often companies will want Adobe Reader to open PDFs. Adobe Reader is a bit of a funny one and needs extra kind of fiddling about with to get to the MSI, and so there's probably videos already on YouTube, but as part of this series I thought I may as well record my own type version anyway. Because I've done this many times, I know that it's a good idea to have WinRAR, because WinRAR can be used to extract the MSI file from the Adobe installer. So that's rarlab.com. I'm going to download and just install that on one of the computers, because I'm only going to need it for this one thing. I don't need it across all of my domain computers. So that's WinRAR installed. So the next thing is I'm going to go to Google and search for Adobe Reader MSI. The first one you get is the Adobe website with an enterprise word in the URL. I'm going to go to that, scroll down on the page, select the operating system that I'm using or I'm going to be deploying it to, select the language you want, and it offers you a version 2019, January, I presume that's January maybe, or the 10th release of 2019. Unknown, but quite likely 20th of January. Anyway, go for that, download it. Go into the folder that it's been downloaded to, right click on it, and I'm going to select the option extract to Adobe or Acro RDR, whatever. And WinRAR is extracting the self-extracting executable into a folder. And I'm going to cut that folder and put it on my software installation share. So going to Server 2019, the software share, and then I'm just going to paste that folder in there. And just as a quick note, we're actually logged in as, does it show here? No, but we're logged in as Bob. So if I run command prompt maybe. God, how do you do it in Windows 10? Command prompt echo. Just who am I? Yeah. So we're logged in as B Smith. Let's have a quick look on the server. I don't think he's a domain admin. So it's unusual that you would have write access into the software share, because it means that your users on your network could update your software and potentially deploy bad bits of software or software they're not authorized to. So when I set up these shares, I probably said you want to make sure that your file permissions or folder and share permissions don't allow this. This is just a demonstration environment, but if your normal users can log into your software share and paste software in, then something isn't quite right with your permissions, so something to be aware of. So now on your server, you have Adobe Reader's MSI files and a bunch of other stuff, which will close all of that. Go over to the server and go into the Group Policy Manager, and I'm going to apply it to all computers. So create a group policy and link it here. My previous ones have been called install : and then the name of the software, so I'm going to do the same thing here. install colon Adobe Reader. Right click on it, go to edit, go to policies, software settings, software installation, right click anywhere in the blank area, new package, and if it's not already dumped you in there from doing this on other software, make sure that you're using the share name. You can't just go on the server into C drive shares, because when the computers go to deploy it, they'll look in their own C drive shares and that folder won't exist. So you need to make sure that you're using a network share. So Server 2019 software, I need to go up one, go into the Adobe Reader folder. There's only one file or one MSI in there that we can select, so I'm going to select that, assign it, and click OK. And there we go. So if I restart these computers now, they've got, looks like Windows updates to do, which is not fun. So that's Bob's computer restarting, and Jane's computer is restarting. Now I'm going to have to cut out this Windows update bit in the video because that's probably going to take quite some time. Right, so both of those are rebooted, but I didn't see them installing Adobe Reader on startup. So the ways around that is you can either run a group policy force, which I would have shown you in one of the previous videos, or quite often if you just reboot them a second time, in fact there's more updates to do as well, just to be a bit tedious. So let's reboot both Bob and Jane's computer again. But group policy isn't checked or isn't updated kind of immediately. The default, I think, is about 15 or 20 minutes where the computer will check to see if there are any new policies. So rebooting twice normally triggers it. Yeah, there we go. So it's now installing Adobe Reader. So you could either just wait during a normal business process and it would pick up on the group policy eventually anyway, or reboot twice normally forces them to do an update and do the software install, or do a group policy refresh or group policy / force, and that will force it to run a check there and then, and you'll get a message saying that there's a group policy to be applied on startup, and then it will ask you if you want to restart. But quite often just restarting twice is the easier option anyway. So both of those machines are rebooted and you saw them installing Adobe Reader. So if I log in, I shall also log into Jane's computer. And Adobe Reader is also on the desktop. And let's have a quick check on Jane's. That has also worked. So that's got me set up with the 2 bits of software that I wanted installed for my next demonstration video. If this video has been useful to you, it'd be super helpful to me if you wouldn't mind subscribing to my channel. Don't need notifications to be switched on or anything, just the subscription numbers really help. And check out all the other videos in this series if you want to learn more about the very basics of Windows NT domains or Active Directory domains and administration of them and initial setup of them.